Hello, welcome back to a Fallout 76 guide. Let's talk about fast travel. It may seem easy and simple, you just click and fast travel, right? But what I want to show you is how to fast travel for free, to anywhere with no restrictions. I have talked about the topic in multiple videos in the past, and each time I've given you an even better way to fast travel for free. But let me just say that this is by far the best method, because it's literally unrestricted. My last video on the topic showed you how to fast travel anywhere for free, but you could only do that if you were unencumbered. But thanks to a small change in the past update, now you can fast travel anywhere for free and without any conditions. Let me just say that I really let myself go after I discovered this trick. So rejoice, you fat bastards. The airlines might be hell-bent on stopping you, but Fallout 76 lets you fly even if you're mega fat. There's also been an influx of new people, so let me start by making sure they know how and where to fast travel for free. I still see a lot of people not quite knowing how fast travel works, so share the video so they too can enjoy the game more. There's multiple places that cost no caps to fast travel to, and have a bunch of workbenches and vendors. They're meant to be player hubs where people can hang out. Let's start with those, because they're really good to know. White Spring Mall and Refuge are both free fast travel spots, and you can also directly fast travel to the inside of the building. The mall is a great spot for workbenches and stashes, plus vendors to sell your surplus to. Nukatura is the main spot in the south of the ash heap. There's two areas with workbenches, one at the central area, and another one just north of the Wild West section of the park. I hardly see anyone here, so it seems to be less well known. The Rusty Pick is at the northern side of the ash heap, and it's where you can spend scrip to buy legendaries. There's a workbench in the toilets, and if you go to the basement, there's another set of workbenches. The trading post was meant to be a player hub in the Shenandoah Valley. It's got everything the mall has, including a vendor bot. But nobody seems to like the area, so it's not really used. And the newest player hub is the highway town in Burning Springs. There's two rooms with vendors and workbenches just across the statue after you fast travel. There's also vendors with unique items for sale, like for example Windy, so make sure to check out their inventory if you haven't already. The bar where the ghoul lives is at the other end of the mall if you're after those bounty hunts. All the faction headquarters are also free fast travel locations. But one thing to keep in mind is that you need to have a decent reputation to avoid being attacked on sight. And if you're a ghoul, you'll need a costume before going inside. There's three, and they are Fort Atlas, which is the Brotherhood's headquarters. It's okay to fast travel to the exterior if you're a ghoul, as long as you turn around and leave immediately, but if you're going inside, you'll need the disguise. The Crater is the Raiders HQ. There's a couple of vendors in the open areas, and if you go upstairs, there's some workbenches and a stash you can use. Inside is a gold machine and gold vendor. And lastly, there's Foundation. There's some vendors at the market, and the workbenches are to the far left. The gold vendor is past the market, together with some workbenches. Sometimes the gold vendor goes to the guitar, so if he's not standing at his usual place, then that's the other spot to check out. There's also a set of miscellaneous free fast travel locations you can take advantage of. A lot of them are related to some questline or another, but they remain as fast travel spots afterwards. The first is Vault 76. It's kind of funny that the ghoul is always here, but it's a nice spot if you need to access the forest. Dark Hollow Manor in Skyline Valley is the entry to the local vault, but it's also good as a fast travel spot. The Rose Room is not that great because it's too close to Fort Atlas, but it's a convenient spot if you go into Morgantown. Fisherman's Rest is generally for fishing related activities, but it's in the Mire and there's no other free fast travel spots in the region, so it's a good option to keep in mind. And lastly, Radiant Hills. It's off to the far right corner, so it's not really that useful. You only really go there if you're a ghoul to get a disguise. So it's good that it's a free fast travel spot. If you had to walk there, the ghoul disguise system would be even worse than it is now. Everybody probably knows this already, but all your camps are free fast travel spots. But a tip is that it's good to place your additional camps at spots where you need to go to regularly. In my case, I have my main camp with all its resource producers, but the secondary camps tend to be just for fast traveling and fishing. For example, like the nuclear silo in the center of the map. This spot is good for launching nukes, but it's also a nice place for fishing. Usually the bear doesn't bother you, but if you're worried, you can just kill it before you fiddle with your rod. The Cranberry Bog has no free fast travel locations by default, so I placed my camp just outside Watoga. This spot is good for accessing the vendors in the town, but it's also good for exploring the wilderness. And it also happens that there's a bit of water where you can wiggle your line. Ultimately, where you put your camps are entirely up to you, but it's a good idea to think about the places where you go to regularly. By the way, if I see anyone taking over my spots, I'll be sure to send a nuke your way when you least expect it. You've been warned, so don't be an asshole. Any workshops you've taken over also count as camps until you log out, so that's worth keeping in mind. If you have Fallout first, then you can also place your tent at a location you go to often. And if you're on a team, your teammates' camps are always free fast travel locations. The tents can also be used to travel, but you have to configure them to allow it, so it's not 100% guaranteed. Every public event is a free fast travel location. Usually you want to take part in the event, but nothing says you have to. It's entirely possible to just walk away and go do whatever you want. Of course, the downside is that public events are random, so they may not be in the location you want to go to. But if they are in a handy spot, then you can use them to save you some time. This only applies to public events. Any activities still need you to pay camps. If you're fully fat, like all my characters are, then you know that you can't fast travel while over-encumbered. But there's one single exception to this rule, the White Spring Mall. What you need to do is go to an expedition, either by starting or traveling to one. Once you're there, then just open the map and you should be able to fast travel back to White Spring Mall. Both the outside and the inside are available. I'm not sure exactly why it happens, but my theory is that it's a side effect of the way expeditions work. The developers have to make sure there's no way to get stuck in an expedition, and normally being over-encumbered doesn't allow you to fast travel. So my theory is that they had to leave some way to get back to the normal map, and that's why they allowed fast travel back to the White Spring Mall, even if you were over-encumbered. Being deemed too fat to fly used to be a hard restriction. In other words, if you were 1 pound over the limit, you couldn't fast travel. That's right, Todd Howard was the fly Nazi. No fly for you.
Back 1 year.
But then Bethesda decided to go fully capitalist. The travel agent perk was modified to allow fast travel, even if you were fat. But the catch is that you have to pay more camps. A lot more in fact. Going across the map is pretty damn expensive. But the important fact is that being fat is no longer a hard restriction to fast traveling. I knew as soon as I saw those patch notes that this would change the game. And as you'll see, I was right. This small update was a game changer. In my last video, I showed people how you could fast travel for free to anywhere. This involves going into an expedition zone and going into an interior space. This can be any expedition and any interior space. Basically, if you need to go past a loading screen, then this trick will work. In the last video I showed all the possible options for the Atlantic City expeditions, but apparently some people were just too dumb, and there was a bunch of comments from some wannabe witty characters. So let me show you only the best option, and let me explain it in a way that even the dummies will get it. Firstly, travel to the Atlantic City Casino. Once you load in, run to the end, and if you want you can pick up some ammo from the robot. Jump down. You can use the bus as a landing spot to avoid breaking your legs. Go towards the nightclub. There's a few rats that spawn, and if you want, you can kill them for some glowing meat or rad rat meat. Rad rat meat is good to roast for a perception bonus. I get +5 with the carnivore mutation, which is pretty good. Go inside the nightclub. Once you load in, open up the map. Then you can fast travel to any location on the map. Any, for free. This is the same trick I showed in the previous video, and hopefully, this time I'm making it simple enough that we can avoid smarty pants comments. No, I'm not bitter, just annoyed. But there is still a restriction for over-encumbered people. You're still restricted from traveling if you're too fat. And yes, this includes the White Spring Mall. Traveling from the interior changes the way fast travel works. I'm betting that the clever ones watching already know what I'm going to say. But remember the changes to the travel agent perk? The card removes the weight restriction on fast traveling, but at the cost of multiplying how many caps you have to spend. But what's anything multiplied by 0? That's right, 0. If you saw this one coming, then give yourself a pat on the back. What this means is that if you equip the travel agent perk and fast travel from an interior space in an expedition, like the Atlantic City nightclub where this character is standing, then you can fast travel for the grand prize of 0 caps. And yes, this now means that you can fast travel for free to anywhere. And now you can do it while over-encumbered. There's literally 0 restrictions and 0 cost to fast travel to anywhere. I'm pretty damn sure that the developers knew exactly what they were doing when they made those changes to the travel agent perk. So thank you devs for making life easier for players. Now this is what I call a quality of life improvement. Because if you haven't realized it, this is an indirect increase to your stash space. Your stash is full? Then just carry those items on you. The only thing you drop when you die is junk. Everything else stays on you. So it's now perfectly possible to play overweight. I've been doing just that for the last few seasons, and I can tell you that it's perfectly viable. I know that many people like to trash on the developers, and often it's a thankless task. But this one small step is definitely a giant leap for Fallout kind. Especially the fat Fallout kind. I have to say that I haven't seen too many people using this trick, or even talking about it, but this is one trick that makes a massive improvement to how well the game plays. So thank you once again devs for improving the player experience. I know what you did, and I for one definitely appreciate it.